Welcome back. Today, we're going to take a look at the solution to the magician problem we showed you in our last video. So let's say that the magician finishes with the 5 cards A, B, C, D, and E in that order. Well, because we know how the cards finished, but we don't know how the cards started, then it seems like a really reasonable thing to do to try a working backwards solution. But it turns out that for this problem, working backwards is actually a bit hard because it's actually really easy to make a mistake when you're trying to move the top card to the bottom of the pile, but backwards. So what we're actually going to do instead is try a bit unusual, but we're going to do an unusual working forward solution. Although we don't know the order of the 5 cards when they started, we know that if we could pretend we knew what their order was, we could figure out the order that they would finish in. So let's try something like pretending that in the deck, the 5 cards started in the order, some order, and let's just call it P, Q, R, S, and T. And with this new set of 5 cards, we can just be the magician ourselves and see what happens when we move the cards around. So the first thing we will do is move the P to the bottom of the deck. And so the deck turns into a Q, R, S, T, P. And then we will move the Q out of the deck because we're going to turn it face up onto the table. So we know that the table will now have a Q right at the left. The next thing we're going to do is move the top of the deck to the bottom. And now, because the Q's not there anymore, the top of the deck is the R. And so we end up with S, T, P, R. Again, we're going to move the top of the deck onto the table. So now we have Q and S on the table. And we'll continue doing this, like so. So we know that the cards finish in the order Q, S, P, T, and R. But what we also know is that these actually match up to A, B, C, D, and E. So what this means is that Q is actually just A, and that the S is actually just a B, and so on. So all we have to do now is take the cards from P to T and convert them back into the letters from A to E, using the mapping that we just found. And what this will give us is we start with the P on top, which is a C, and then we have the Q, which is an A, and then the R, which is an E, and then a B, and then a D. And so what this means is that the order of the 5 cards when they started in the deck was C, A, E, B, D. And so to answer the original question, the bottom card in the original pile was the D.